Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson, this is Full Time Devils, and this is the huge Memphis Depay debate. Oh, this is a player that divides fan opinion. Some people think he's a waste of space, some people think he needs more time, and some think he is an untapped genius that needs to be played. Today joining me to talk about Memphis Depay is Mo Butt from Squawka, Statman Dave, and Cheeky Sport Dave. Hello fellas, how you doing?
Come on!
Right then, Statman Dave, I'm going to come to you first. Tell us about the player that we signed from PSV. This is a guy that was dubbed the next Ronaldo, leading scorer in the Dutch league, someone absolutely tearing it up, counter-attacking, free-flowing winger that loved to score goals. What happened?
Well, I think that winger's still there, but I think it's confidence. Go back to that PSV team, and he was everything. He played quite an interesting role. He was on the counter-attack. He didn't really have to do any defensive work. Played off a target man in Luke de Jong. But scoring 22 goals is a decent record in any league. The Eredivisie, it gets criticised for not being as good as the Premier League, but it's still competitive. And what he did that season, he was the best player by a country mile. He was tearing people apart on the break. 22 goals, hat full of assists as well. 5 assists as well. Just a really, really good player. And then he came to United, and it seemed like after the World Cup again, really good at the World Cup, sort of had a real big impact off the bench for Holland. I think there was a game against Mexico where he came off the bench, really changed the shape for Holland. They went to a 4-3-3. He went out wide, and they went on to win that game. But the player that was, and we have now, it's kind of our own fault in a way. You look, he's only started 16 Premier League games in the last 2 seasons. In a way, United are accountable for some of his poor form, and I think he has the potential to still make it United. Maybe defensively, needs to do a bit of work there, but attacking-wise, just needs that confidence.
Mo, what do you reckon? Where do you stand?
Also, I think the problem is he's doing too much defensive work. I mean, Dave was talking about his great attacking numbers and that PSV, and they're, of course, all just plummeted down to us when he joined United. But you look at his defensive numbers, and they've all gotten better, which... you're thinking, okay, that's good. You want him to improve defensively, but really, it's just that United are asking him to do too much defending. He's not. I mean, look at the guy. He's not tall, but he's built like a brick wall. You can't ask people like that to run around too much because they just get exhausted. He doesn't have the frame to constantly sprint all game long, like let's say Cristiano Ronaldo or Ryan Giggs, who's a left winger. He's got a big bulldog frame like Wayne Rooney, and he's a bit overweight at United. Let's be fair, but. He needs to be given time to he needs to be put into a side where he can be the main guy, like Dave said. The play can move around him. He can be the one that can slow the ball down, slow the play down, look around, find teammates, and then play passes, then create chances. When he's asked to then be a team-focused player, a defensive player, it's not going to work. Louis van Gaal knew this with the Dutch national side. What's really weird is that when he came to United, he then changed his mind completely and started using Memphis in a very sort of different defensive way. It's not how you get the best out of him. He's a free-flowing attacking player, needs to be given the same sort of leeways that Cristiano Ronaldo himself was given for many years, and that allowed him to grow into the attacking player that he was. Memphis hasn't been given those same leeways, so he's struggling.
Cheeky Dave, what do you reckon, mate?
The problem with Memphis, well, for me, the problem with Memphis is Louis van Gaal. Going back to Mo right there, I think
Boom.
I think Van Gaal has contributed greatly to his current form, to the way he's playing. I think, and it's a sad story because there was so much promise, there was so much hype, so much excitement, and I don't think it was unjust. I think it was correct. I think that the hype that he came with and the package that he came with, I think what he had done, it was justified. But currently, the way it's currently looking, it's not looking like it's going to get any better, and that's the only thing that I'm worried about. But I think to me, I can't. There's no one else I can blame but Louis van Gaal for that. And it's just as Mo said, he should have known better because he'd been with him in the Dutch side, so he should know his qualities. He should know what he's good at, and push him towards what he's good at, as opposed to critiquing him on what he's not good at. And I think
the expectations are too high for Memphis when we signed him.
No, it's not even the expectations. I don't think this is the problem with the expectations. I think what it is that the responsibilities they gave him on top of what his original expectations are. That's what the issue was. I think that is where now you have a player that's second guessing everything that he's doing, and a creative player that is supposed to be a lot more intuitive is now thinking way too much, and that's never good for an attacking.
You can see it when he plays. It's like when he first started, the goal against Bruges where he flipped over the defender, and you're thinking, this is it. This is the guy. And then Van Gaal starts saying, you got to do this more, you got to do that more, and trying to instill him in this really rigid system. He's not in a classic Van Gaal system, he's not that kind of wide player because obviously Van Gaal requires a lot of discipline from his wide players. Really, he should have been playing in the middle, but of course the problem there was Wayne Rooney was also in the middle, and the two of them never gelled because they're both basically big, slowish. Well, they've got a burst of pace, both big guys who like to slow the play down. Really, what would have happened, what really Memphis would have loved is to play centrally behind Martial, or later in the season, Rashford. So, that Watford game really showed what Memphis can do when he plays in a central role behind a quick forward, behind a mobile, in a fluid system. When you put him wide in a Van Gaal system, he's never going to thrive there. Van Gaal needs disciplined players out wide. Mourinho is kind of the same, really. I know he put Memphis in a position to succeed. You need to play him around with mobile players. I know it sounds weird to say because he's fast himself, but he slows the play down when he gets on the ball. Likes to take players on, likes to find passes on him. But for him to really shine, it's weird. I have too many of these players that they like to slow the play down, need fast players around them. Memphis, Zlatan, Rooney. You can only really have one of those in a side.
Statman Dave, do you think Jose Mourinho rates him?
I think it's a difficult one because he obviously doesn't rate him to play him enough. He's played 42 minutes this season in the Premier League. That's ridiculous. 6 minutes, 11 minutes, and then 14 minutes. That's not enough to do anything. And again, it puts too much pressure on him. What Memphis needs to do first is quicken his game up, like Mo's saying. He needs to play the short passes when it's on. He needs to get the ball and give it and then move. What he's doing at the moment, he's getting the ball and he's trying to take on the whole team. I think there was a game recently where he got in behind the defence in one of these 11-minute cameos, and he just stopped and he came back and he beat the defender again, and he didn't need to do that. He was already in behind, already had the right space, needed to get his head up and play a pass, and it's one of those things where he's trying too much now. And unfortunately, the expectation, the pressure of Manchester United, it appears to be too much, but also the competition. You look at that left-hand side. Potentially, you've got Anthony Martial, Rashford, Mata could play there, Mkhitaryan could play there, Wayne Rooney's played there. It's just there's a few too many players there, so maybe it is time for Memphis to maybe move on.
Ooh. Cheeky Dave, what do you think Sir Alex Ferguson would do in this situation? Do you think he would give him the time? Do you think he would put an arm around him, or do you think he would do what Van Gaal and Mourinho are doing, which is basically just close the door on him?
It's a tough one because we can't see what goes on behind closed doors, and I think a huge part of what Sir Alex would have done would have been on what's going on behind closed doors. Because, the same way you can look at a situation like Fellaini, for some reason, no Man United fan knows why he's even currently in contention to get a new contract. But he must be doing something behind closed doors that every single manager, including Jose, who everyone thought finally he's going to get rid of, decided to end up with a new contract. So I think it depends on that. And we can't talk about that because none of us know really what's going on back there. All we can do is probably speculate that it's not that great behind closed doors, because if it was, then there would be some promises in there. And all the players there that Dave just mentioned, it just makes it, you just have to shake your head because you don't know if there's any room or if there's any possibility for anything to happen there.
Mo, he's been linked with a move to Everton. We're not sure if it's permanent or a loan. It seems like it could be a loan move to the end of the season. Do you think that'd be a good move for him?
I think it'd be a great move for him. Ronald Koeman is a player who really loves to have dribbling wingers. Like he loves individualism out wide. He spent a lot of money on Yannick Bolasie, which everyone thought was really weird. But if you look at what he wants Yannick Bolasie to do, if they ever have the money, it makes sense. So Memphis again would make a lot of sense in that kind of system. Koeman would play him and would give him the freedom to basically just be himself, to be evocative, to be dribbling, to play on the counter attack, to work with other fast players, Romelu Lukaku. It would really, really help energize him, I think. It'd be interesting to see Bolasie on the right, Memphis on the left, and Lukaku up front. I think that would be really interesting, really young, mobile forward line. Lots of movement, lots of pace, which is exactly what Memphis needs to thrive. Alone, I think permanent move is the way to go, because Martial and Mark Rashford are both younger than him and both play in essentially can play in the same position as him. I think he's missed his chance at United because of the miracles of Martial and Rashford. I just think there's no room for him. Where do you put him? Because wide left is going to be Martial's berth going forward. You can see Rashford will either play wide left or up front. Yeah, you could almost say he's missed his chance. It's really sad. I love Memphis. I would love him to succeed at United but anywhere really. But I think a permanent move would be best for him at this stage.
Statman Dave, what do you reckon? A loan move or a permanent move to Everton? Is that a good move?
It's a different. I think the Everton move, if it's going to be a loan move, probably isn't the best thing. You know, you look at the forwards that they've got in there. You mentioned already Lukaku, Balassi, Deulofeu, Morales, Ross Barkley's been playing wide. Is he going to get in that team week in, week out? Maybe not. Memphis needs to play football. I think that's the big thing. One thing that Memphis has kind of shot himself in the foot is he's not evolved himself to play on the right-hand side, because United kind of like lack someone on that right-hand side that is direct, that's quick, that's going to get to the byline. That's what Henrik Mkhitaryan will be, but obviously Mourinho maybe doesn't trust him either. So Memphis potentially could have, you know, pushed himself over to that right-hand side and given himself a real option to get into the first team. But I do think a move somewhere could be good. A buyback could be a good option. We've seen how Barcelona have done that very well recently. Real Madrid do that. Why can't Manchester United do that? Sell him to Everton, put a buyback in of like, you know, 5, 7, 8 million, and then get him back if he starts performing. But I think Memphis needs to have a word with himself and sort of really tick on in his career, because he's getting to an age now where it's time to score the goals and time to be the guy that everyone thinks he can be.
Interesting. So, Cheeky Dave, predict the future. What's going to happen with Memphis Depay?
I think he's going to go on loan, to be honest with you. I think I can't see him being immediately sold, because at the end of the day, the reality of the fact is we don't know. We had a kind of solid back four, and that's just gone to crumbles at the moment, and we have no idea what's going to happen in our midfield. So I think he's going to be on loan with an option to buy, I think. And I think it'll be perfect for him. I think it'll be great for him. I think it'll be great for him to be back with somebody Dutch, to have a bit of familiarity, and for him to be able to express himself there at Everton. Everton don't have a great deal of expectation like he's going to have like he has at Manchester United, and I think he needs playing time. He needs confidence, and I think if he goes to Everton and lights it up over there, we could be taking on another great player. It doesn't usually happen. Not a lot of players that we've given out on loan end up coming back. So loaning him out isn't a bad move for us in that sense. But he might be an exception in that. And I hope, like I said, I want the best for him, to be honest with you. Like when he came in and he had that number 7 jersey, I was like, man, that is amazing. I want him to do well. Every player that comes to United, I want them to succeed. So I still want that for him. It's just increasingly difficult when you look at the players and the competition he has out there, especially on the left-hand side.
Statman Dave, predict the future?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Memphis has got 2 big months left, for his Manchester United career to save it, December and November. Potentially, if he doesn't crack it then it's time for a loan move. It's time for him to be sold with a buyback. But you look at Arsenal this weekend with Zlatan Ibrahimovic out with a suspension. Potentially, Mourinho could go with Memphis on the left-hand side and Anthony Martial through the middle. That could be an option that could sort of restart Memphis Depay's career at United.
Mo, predict the future. You've already said I think a permanent move would be a good idea. How do you think it'll actually go down?
I think he'll go out on loan this year. If he impresses, he'll be bought in the summer by either Everton or whoever goes on loan to, or someone else. If he doesn't impress on the loan spell, he'll go out on loan again next year and then be sold for like £2 million to like Stoke or something in 2 years' time. I love Memphis a lot, man, but I just feel really pessimistic right now. You know what I mean?
Heartbreaking.
It's
Heartbreaking. For me, if I have to wrap it up and sum it up, I'll say I think he has been a little bit too eager and a little bit disappointing when he has been given chances. He's definitely got to take the chances, but he needs to be given the chances to be able to take the chances. And I think that's what we need to see from him at the moment. So thank you to these guys for joining us. Make sure you go and give them a follow and a subscribe. That's Squawka, Cheeky Dave and Statman Dave on Dave Talks as well. Thank you guys for watching us. Let us know in the comments how you think this is going to go down with Memphis Depay. Do you want to see him stay at Old Trafford? Do you want to see him succeed at Old Trafford? Or do you think it's time for him to move on? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in a bit.
Come on!
Come on! That's what I'm talking about.